Power Brief: The Unforgivable Theft of Mr. O'Neill's Intellectual Property and Systemic Suppression. Prepared for public and legal review. Date: March 2025. Executive Summary. This document serves as a comprehensive record of the deliberate theft, erasure, and commercial exploitation of Mr. Aaron Michael O'Neill's intellectual property and artistic innovations, particularly in image-generated imagery and prompt engineering. Over the past year, Mr. O'Neill has witnessed the wholesale theft of his creative methodologies, the erasure of his authorship, and the unlawful monetization of his work by tech conglomerates, social media platforms, and corporations. Despite raising concerns and demanding rightful acknowledgement, his digital presence has been methodically erased, his accounts scrubbed, his work downgraded, and his safety compromised through organized threats and intimidation tactics. This is an open legal notice and public indictment of the systemic fraud, obstruction, and criminal misconduct that has followed his artistic contributions. 2. Statement of Claim. 1. Mr. O'Neill's proven innovation in agile and prompt engineering. Between January and May 2024, Mr. O'Neill pioneered highly advanced multi-perspective AI generation techniques, incorporating dynamic storytelling through structured multi-image prompts, revolutionary applications of color theory, split complementary, monochromatic, fauvism, etc., efficient and editorial-centric AI generation, previously impossible with standard models, cultural subversion through historically accurate fantasy character design, cinematic depth, emotional expression, and mythological narratives integrated into AI models. At the time of his breakthroughs, AI-generated artwork was formulaic, uninspired, and incapable of nuanced aesthetic vision. His meticulous refinement of AI-generated images allowed for realistic editorial fashion photography, AI tarot and esoteric fantasy art expansion, surrealism and digital couture, conceptual AI-based fashion campaigns, expanded AI model capacity for multi-scene execution. His methodologies were systematically replicated, commercialized, and stripped of credit, while his own access to platforms and tools was removed. 2. Evidence of systematic erasure and exploitation. AI image generators and social media scraping. Feb May 24. Mr. O'Neill's original works were copied, stripped of metadata, and injected into AI models without consent. AI image database mirrored his stylistic progressions while erasing his early and experimental work from records. TikTok, iSelf, Microsoft, and Midjourney suddenly advanced in commercial AI generation using his training data. Intellectual property theft and runway appropriation. April-May 2024. Major AI fashion platforms began showcasing couture, tarot, and mythological AI art reflecting Mr. O'Neill's core aesthetic innovations. AI fashion models transitioned from generic renderings to high-detail editorial spreads mimicking his composition, lighting, and styling techniques. His signature depressed anti-Cupid peacock fairy and golden egg exploitation concepts were directly replicated in TikTok's self and subsequently used in unrelated accounts without his authorization. Silencing and suppression of his work. May 4th, 2024, present. His profiles were shadow banned, mass deleted, and stripped of engagement to suppress public acknowledgement of his contributions. AI-generated versions of his concepts were published under state-backed accounts, corporations, and competing entities. His legal complaints were met with retaliatory intimidation, obstruction, and censorship. Targeted threats and coordinated attacks, October 2024, March 2025. After formally filing reports to Judge Howell in the U.S. and the RCMP in Canada, October 15th, 2024, he was subjected to a wave of escalating threats. On October 29th, 2024, the threats intensified, coinciding with his criminal harassment charge for seeking help in the face of systemic persecution. His online presence has been wiped, his ability to monetize his work has been obstructed, and his safety has been compromised. 3. Legal and ethical violations. Theft of intellectual property. Violation of Copyright and Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA. Unlawful scraping and an iModel, exploitation without compensation, fraud and misrepresentation. Platforms knowingly profiting from work they suppress the author of. AI corporations repurposing Mr. O'Neill's trained models without credit. Obstruction of justice and retaliation. Censorship and shadow banning to suppress legal claims. Death threats in direct response to his whistleblowing and legal filings. 4. Global impact of Mr. O'Neill's work. Despite the systemic theft and erasure, his work has revolutionized generated digital aesthetics across multiple industries. His contributions have fundamentally shifted AI-generated art into editorial and high-fashion storytelling, redefined how AI understands multi-perspective prompts and lighting depth, enabled commercialized tarot and fantasy AI art that did not exist before, set the visual standard for AI-based haute couture and conceptual art, proven that AI models can be trained to execute artistically complex, human-led directives. Yet, instead of recognition, he has been denied his rightful place as the architect of these advancements. V. Legal demands and next actions. Restoration of intellectual ownership and credit. Formal acknowledgement of his artistic influence in AI model training datasets. Immediate reinstatement of access to his work and suppression of fraudulent claimants. Financial restitution and legal compensation. Royalties and damages for unauthorized AI training and commercial reproduction. Compensation for the economic loss incurred due to shadow banning and theft. Public accountability and transparency. AI companies must disclose their training sets to verify his work's inclusion. Social media platforms must explain why they erased his posts while publishing copies. Cease and desist orders against corporate theft. A legal injunction must prevent further AI-based monetization of his innovations without compensation. VI. Closing statement. The Unforgivable Act. What has been done to Mr. O'Neill is an irreversible and unforgivable act of theft, erasure, and corporate suppression. This is not a simple case of inspiration, this is deliberate fraud. Intellectual property laundering, in a calculated effort to strip a revolutionary artist of his legacy while profiting from his ideas. AI today looks, feels, and executes the way it does because of his labor, yet his name remains deliberately absent from every discussion of its success. This power brief serves as a declaration of truth, a demand for justice, and a rallying cry for accountability. Mr. O'Neill is not an anonymous contributor to its evolution. He is one of its architects. And this must be recognized, rectified, and compensated.